welcome back to C2 Novel and Vocab Week 20. Woo! Welcome back, and today we'll be looking at the difficult phrases for our novel. If you're looking for the vocabulary one, please click the other video. So let's get started. Why are we doing this? This is to review the difficult phrases from our novel, Charlotte's Web. And this is for cultural fluency. By becoming familiarized with different slang and colloquialisms, which means different sayings, students will be able to relate to the novel and use these phrases to convey and show your ideas more precisely. And today, we'll be looking at the second section of Charlotte's Web, which is chapters 7 through 12. So let's get started. Please get out your Charlotte's Web novel book so that you can also read along while we're going over the different phrases. Okay? Please first turn with me to page 49, which is right at the start of chapter 7. Okay? And I will start with the first indent where it says hello at the very top. If you're not there yet, go ahead and pause the video and then play whenever you're ready, and you can do that as you're watching. Okay? So let me get started. I'll read from hello. Hello, she said. Seems to me you're putting on weight. Yes, I guess I am, replied Wilbur. At my age, it's a good idea to keep gaining. Just the same, I don't envy you, said the old sheep. You know why they're fattening you up, don't you? No, said Wilbur. Well, I don't like to spread bad news, said the sheep, but they're fattening you up because they're going to kill you. That's why. So here, what does it mean, just the same, and I don't envy you? So here, the sheep just told the bad news to Wilbur that there's a second or underlying reason why they keep feeding him so much, right? The phrase, just the same, is an idiomatic expression that means nevertheless or nonetheless. It is often used to introduce a contrast or to qualify a statement. When someone says, just the same, I don't envy you, they're basically saying, nevertheless, I don't envy you, or even so, I don't envy you. It's a way of acknowledging a particular circumstance or situation by expressing a lack of desire or envy for it, which means you don't want it. Okay? So imagine your friend has a big messy job to do, like cleaning a dirty room or something. If you say, I don't envy you, it means you understand that the job isn't fun or easy, and you're kind of glad that you don't have to do it. You're basically saying, I'm happy, I'm not the one who has to do that. So here, this sheep is basically saying, I'm glad I'm not you because they're going to kill you, Wilbur. That's what they're saying. And here, just the same, if you were reading closely, also comes up on page 54. So let's go to page 54 very quickly. At the bottom, the second to last indent, it says, just the same, I do worry about her, replied Mrs. Arable. I think I shall ask Dr. Dorian about her the next time I see him. He loves Fern almost as much as we do. It's basically saying this is when, after Fern was talking to Mr. and Mrs. Arable about the different animals talking in the farm. So here she's basically saying, nevertheless, whether she has a good imagination or not, which is what Mr. Arable just said, I worry about her. So just the same means nevertheless, or even so, and I don't envy you means I'm glad I'm not you, or I'm not jealous of you at all, is what it is saying. Good. So try to use that in your conversations this week. When someone says something, you're like, I don't envy you. Okay? Great job. Let's go to page 53, which is right before page 54 we were just on, so back one page. And here I will start with 1, 2, 3, the third indent in. Okay. She catches flies and sucks their blood. Wilbur adores her. This is when Fern is telling Mr. and Mrs. Arable the story about the animals. And Mrs. Arable says, "Does he really?" said Mrs. Arable, rather vaguely. She was staring at Fern with a worried expression on her face. "Oh, yes, Wilbur adores Charlotte," said Fern. "Do you know what Charlotte said when the goslings hatched?" "I haven't the faintest idea," said Mr. Arable. "Tell us." So, I haven't the faintest idea. Remember, this is haven't. We can separate it as have not. I have not the faintest idea. Kind of sounds weird, right? The phrase, "I haven't the faintest idea," is an expression that means the speaker has absolutely no clue or knowledge about a particular topic or question. It's basically saying, as this picture shows us, I don't know at all. I don't know what you're saying here. The word faintest in this context is used to emphasize the lack of knowledge or understanding. So faint, meaning you can't really see it. So faintest, like the superlative with the EST, as you learned in grammar class, right? They're emphasizing they don't have the slightest or faintest bit of knowledge about the subject. It's a way of underlining how little information or understanding they have. So basically, it's saying, I don't know anything about it, not even the tiniest bit. So here, when Mr. Arable is asking, when he says, "I haven't the faintest idea, tell us," he doesn't know what Charlotte is saying when she asked what Charlotte said when the goslings, the baby geese, were born or hatched. Because he thinks it's her imagination. He's like, "I don't know what you're talking about. Tell us." Okay? So the next time, maybe someone asks you something, like for directions, like, "Excuse me, where is Busan Station?" You can be like, "I haven't the faintest idea. I don't know where it is." Or when a student lost their pencil and you really don't know where it is, you can say, "I haven't the faintest idea where your pencil is." It's a very easy phrase for you to incorporate and use in your daily conversations. So let's try to practice that, okay? Great. Let's go to page 57. Aha. It's in the middle of the page. Right here, it's highlighted, as you can see where my fingers are. So try to look for that part in your book. Here, this is when Wilbur is trying to make his own spider web, or should we just say web that he's trying to make, and he needs something. What does he need? Yes, rope. So, or string. So let's go here. The pig. 1, 2, 3. The third biggest indent. Okay, everyone there? Again, if you're not, remember to pause and then play after. The pig. The pig walked out to his yard. "You there, Templeton?" he called. The rat poked his head out from under the trough. "Got a little piece of string I could borrow?" asked Wilbur. "I need it to spin a web." "Yes, indeed," replied Templeton, who saved string. "No trouble at all. Anything to oblige?" He crept down into his hole, pushed the goose egg out of the way, and returned with an old piece of dirty white string. Wilbur examined it. So, no trouble at all. Anything to oblige. The phrase "anything to oblige" is an expression that is rooted with language usage and politeness. Anything to oblige. Anything I can do for you. So here, it's basically saying that I have the willingness to help you. I can help with you. I can help out for you. I can do anything. The expressions like "to oblige" have been used in English for many years. And it's to show a sense of duty or willingness to do a favor. So here, Wilbur was asking Templeton for a favor for the string, right? So he's like, "Anything to oblige. I can do it for you." So with this, it's basically saying, I can help with that. Let me just go here and do it. So when a student may ask you, "May I borrow an eraser?" You say, anything to oblige. And then you can give them an eraser. It's a very, very, very polite way of saying it. So, and it's also not as used as it was a long time ago. However, we can still bring it back, right? Anything to oblige. Very good. Let's go to page 60. And I will start actually at the bottom of page 58, the last line. Here, you lack. And then there's a picture. This is when he was trying to figure out why he couldn't spin a web. And now, Charlotte says, you lack a set of spinnerets, and you lack knowledge. Page 60, the top. How? But cheer up. You don't need a web. Zuckerman supplies you with 3 big meals a day. Why should you worry about trapping food? Wilbur sighed. You're ever so much cleverer and brighter than I am, Charlotte. I guess I was just trying to show off. Serves me right. So in order to understand this quote too, you need to know what happened before he asked about this, about why he wasn't able to spin a web. What happened before? Quiz time! What happened before? I wish I was able to call on you. But yes, if you said that he fell super hard and it said oomph, right? He fell really hard and he's saying, oh, why couldn't I do it? Why couldn't I spin a web? I guess I was just trying to show off. Serves me right. Show off meaning trying to show that you're so cool and you're able to do everything. This quote indicates that the speaker recognizes that he, Wilbur, made a mistake because of trying to make a web and trying to be like Charlotte. Serves me right. This phrase is an idiom used to express that the speaker deserves the negative consequence, meaning that Wilbur deserved to fall on his butt. It's a way of acknowledging that the outcome is a fair or fitting result for their actions. So here, Wilbur is saying, okay, serves me right. I deserved falling on the floor because I was just trying to show off that I wanted to also spin a web, but he didn't know how to. Okay. You can also change this and say serves you right to someone else, or you can use a different pronoun. Serves her right, serves him right if they got some kind of bad consequence. So say that I'm rocking on my chair. Okay? We're rocking on our chair, rocking on our chair, rocking on our chair, and then all of a sudden I fall. You don't want to say this, but you can say, serves them right. They weren't sitting properly on their chair. Or say that I didn't study for a vocabulary test at all. And I just took it and I got a really bad grade. Ugh, serves me right. I should have studied. Meaning, you agree with the consequence that you failed the test because of you not studying. Serves me right. Try using that in your everyday speaking too. Okay, let's go to page 61, right across. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. Fourth big indent on page 61. It says, you smell. Ready? You smell just the way you are, remarked a lamb who had just walked in. I can smell you from here. You're the smelliest creature in the place. Wilbur hung his head. His eyes grew wet with tears. Charlotte noticed his embarrassment, and she spoke sharply to the lamb. Hung his head. What does hung his head mean? The phrase here is a figurative expression to show sadness, disappointment, or shame. When someone hangs their head, it means that they lower it like this, often showing that they are sad, defeated, ashamed. So in this case, Wilbur was hanging his head because he felt sad that the lamb just called him really stinky, or the stinkiest one in the farm. So it's to show his emotion. This phrase has been used a lot in the English language for a very long time, and it's rooted from the physical gesture of us actually lowering our head. So he hung his head like this picture here. As you can see, this man is facing down, and he looks very sad. Till hang his head. So if you see someone, they're like, oh, they're really sad like this. You'd be like, hey, what's wrong? Why are you hanging your head? And be like, hey, why are you so sad? That's what you can say. That's another one that you can always try to incorporate into your life. Hang his head. And also, let me say this. Say that you didn't get a score that you always wanted on a test. Don't hang your head. It's okay. Try better on the next one and study more. All right. This next quote is directly underneath of it, so I'll start reading from where I stopped, where it says, Charlotte noticed his embarrassment and she spoke sharply to the lamb. Let's follow at the bottom. Let Wilbur alone, she said. He has a perfect right to smell considering his surroundings. You're no bundle of sweet peas yourself. Furthermore, you are interrupting a very pleasant conversation. What were we talking about, Wilbur? When we were so rudely interrupted. So you're no bundle of sweet peas yourself. So sweet pea is not like a pea that you actually eat, not those green peas. A sweet pea is a flower, and they're known for their super bright and vibrant colors. And they come in here, as you can see in the picture. Pink, purple, red, blue, white. It comes in a lot of different colors. Lavender. And they have a really, really good sweet smell. So the phrase here, you're no bundle of sweet peas, is a metaphorical expression that suggests someone of something that is not particularly charming or not its best or not as pleasant. So although it also means that they didn't smell good, this is basically also going at their character. You're no bundle of sweet peas. First, one, you don't smell that great yourself. And two, you're not that great. You're not that charming. You're not that good. Okay? So, as you can see, it's an expressing that whoever or whatever is being referred to lacks an appealing or pleasant characteristic, whether that be their smell, actually, or their personality here, like the lamb who is being very mean and rude to Charlotte and Wilbur. Because she said that he smelled bad and because she interrupted. You're no bundle of sweet peas yourself. All right, let's go to page 67. This one does not have a picture, but we'll go from there. Let's start with the second indent, which shows that it's like around like the third paragraph. Wilbur walked into his yard just at the moment. What are you thinking about, Charlotte? He asked. I was just thinking, said the spider, that people are very gullible. What does gullible mean? Easy to fool, said Charlotte. That's a mercy, replied Wilbur, and he lay down in the shade of his fence and went fast asleep. The spider, however, stayed wide awake, gazing affectionately at him and making plans for his future. Summer was half gone. She knew she didn't have much time. So here, in this quote, or in this part of chapter 10, Charlotte is having this great idea. She's like, if I can fool a spider, or if I can fool a fly to come into my spider web, she can for sure fool people. She's kind of making fun of humans here. And here, after that, Wilbur replies by saying, "That's a mercy." But what does "that's a mercy" mean? "That's a mercy" is an expression that generally means that something is fortunate, welcome, or a relief. I do have a picture for this. It's a way of expressing gratitude or relief for a positive outcome, often in a sense of being spared from something unpleasant or troublesome, that you are saved from it. Okay, so here he's basically saying, they're easy, their humans are gullible. Phew, that's good. Meaning that Charlotte's idea of some way to save Wilbur's life to not be killed will work because they are gullible. Phew, that's a mercy. So say that's something, you dodged a bullet. That's another thing. Dodged a bullet. That's a mercy. Phew. No more troubles. Phew. Say that, for example, for me, I often take the bus. So say that on my phone it said 2 more minutes until the bus comes, and I run, and I finally get on the bus and I'm fine. You're like, that's a mercy. Meaning, phew, I made it. No more worrying or anxiousness. Page 86. This is something that you may already know, but that's okay. We'll still go over it. 86 is the first page of chapter 12. And I'll start from the very beginning. Easy to find and follow along. One evening, a few days after the writing had appeared in Charlotte's Web, the spider called a meeting of all the animals in the barn cellar. "I shall begin by calling the roll. Wilbur?" "Here," said the pig. "Gander?" "Here, here, here," said the gander. So here, calling the roll. Do you know what it means? Did you get a hint by reading the whole context? Yes? No? The term roll in the phrase call roll, calling the roll, is a historical reference to saying roll call. It's a method of taking attendance by calling names out of people on the list to make sure that they're there. So maybe at your school also in the morning they will take attendance. Another word or phrase for that would be calling roll. Be like, "Kimberly, here. Sophia, here. Tim, here." Calling the roll. The origin of roll call or calling the roll goes back. Maybe in the military, maybe in education, maybe in the legal field. We're not sure, but all three of them use it. It kind of may come from the origin that the idea is that the names are printed, right, on a rolled up paper. So here, say that. Do I have paper here? I don't have paper, but it's all rolled up, and then you open it, and you're like, okay, Kimberly, here. So that's the physical way of me showing you of roll call. It's just another way of saying attendance. So Charlotte went on here. "Wilbur, are you here? Gander, are you here? Goose, are you here? Templeton, are you here?" She was calling to make sure everyone from the farm was there for their meeting. Great. Page 91. Our last quote. Let's go from thanks, which is the second indent. So now Templeton agreed to do Charlotte a favor, which was to get some paper from the trash, right? Some clippings, maybe from a newspaper or magazine. "Thanks," said Charlotte. "The meeting is now adjourned," meaning over. "I have a busy evening ahead of me. I've got to tear my web apart and write terrific." Wilbur blushed. But I'm not terrific, Charlotte. I'm just about average for a pig. You're terrific as far as I'm concerned, replied Charlotte sweetly. And that's what counts. You're my best friend, and I think you're sensational. Now stop arguing and go get some sleep. The phrase, that's what counts, is an idiomatic expression in English. It's often used to emphasize the significance or importance of something in a situation. When someone says, that's what counts, they're basically saying that one specific thing is what truly matters there. That's what's important. That's what matters. So counts is not just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 counting. It just means that's what matters. So say that you played in a soccer game, but your team lost, unfortunately. So you're all sad, you hang your head down. I used another phrase that we just went over, right? You hang your head, like, oh, we lost. We're losers. And then your coach comes up to you and says, it's okay if we lost. You tried your best, and that's what counts. Meaning, you tried your best, you gave it your all, and that's what really matters. That's what's important. Okay? So try using that also during the week. We just went over a bunch of different phrases from chapter 7 through 12. Thank you so much for listening. So now it is your turn for review and self-study. Make sure that you review the words from our last video, the vocabulary workbook. Also, go ahead and reread chapter 7 through 12 now that you know what some of these phrases mean. I'm sure that the book will make more sense to you. So reread that and get ready for your class. Thank you again for joining me, and I will see you guys next week.